One. Hi, and thanks for joining me for this discussion on how to deal with fear and uncertainty. Here's my bold promise for you. You have the ability to dissolve any fear, any uncertainty that you might have. In fact, you can actually use fear and use uncertainty to your advantage, to use it to your advantage, to benefit you in the long run. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along here. Currently, as I'm recording this, the coronavirus is top in the news, and the stock market is jumping all around, and there's no toilet paper to be found in Costco. But these aren't really the issues. These aren't really the problems. These aren't the big issues that we're facing right now, quite honestly. The big issue that we're facing is actually the fear that these issues are actually causing. It's the fear of the coronavirus. It's the uncertainty in the market that is creating the problems in our society right now. You know, I want to thank you first off. Fear is not even real. How am I going to do this? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hi, and thanks for joining me for this discussion on how to deal with fear and uncertainty. Here's my bold promise for you. You have the ability to actually use fear and uncertainty to your advantage. If you want, you can dissolve any fear and any uncertainty that you have. You can actually embrace it. You can actually use it for fuel to move you forward. And people go, but how? Well, before we get to that, let's take a look at where we are right now. So as I'm recording this, the big news is the coronavirus. And what's also happening in the stock market. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty about the coronavirus. Its an impact. Will it spread? Will it become a pandemic? How do I avoid getting it? What happens if I do get it? Am I going to die? Is this the end of humanity? And then the stock market. Oh my gosh, the stock market is down, 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 and then it had a little up, and I'm not exactly sure where it is now. And all of this fear is evident. All you have to do is go to Costco. There's no water and there's no toilet paper to be found in Costco. But the coronavirus, the stock market, and empty shelves in Costco are not the problem. They're not the issue. The issue is actually the fear and the uncertainty that these issues are creating. And here's the thing, fear is not even real. Now, the effects of fear are real, but fear itself is just merely a perception. And we'll talk about that here in just a moment. But first, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking time to listen to this recording. So as you might know, my name is Salt, and I have worked as a human behavioral expert for the past 25 plus years. And I have worked with people who have been dealing with significant fear and uncertainty in their life. People who are going through divorce, for example, people who are facing a jail sentence or a prison sentence, even people who are facing life and death issues. All of these different groups of people have been clients of mine. And I have learned a lot about fear and about insecurity and uncertainty. And so I want to share all of these with you. Because here's the point. The coronavirus, eventually, it's going to pass. Just like the Zika did, just like Ebola did, just like Y2K, we got through that, just like the stock market crash of 2007, 2008, we got through all of those. And the people who were able to harness their fear and to use the uncertainty that those times created to their advantage, those are the people who emerged as the healthiest, the wealthiest even, and those who were ready to move forward. Other people who were enslaved by their fear and their uncertainty, those were the ones that had to play catch up. And I don't know which group that you might have been in, But for me, I'd much rather be in the group that's way ahead than trying to play catch up. So here's the one thing. Fear and uncertainty are merely feedback for you to take action. Let me say that again, because this is a really important piece for you. So, and a really important point altogether, is that, again, it's fear and uncertainty are just feedback to take action. And let me share with you 3 secrets about fear and uncertainty. So again, fear, secret number 1, is that fear is just merely a perception. And the perception is that you're going to experience more pain than pleasure, more negative than positive, more drawback than benefit, rather now or sometime in the future. Again, it's just a perception. Secret number 2 is that we actually create our own uncertainty. And we create our own uncertainty by what we choose to focus on and what we choose to ignore. And here's secret number 3. Secret number 3 is that fear and uncertainty are just feedback systems. They are not necessarily warnings to be avoided or to run away from. Now, again, our brains are designed to pay attention to fear. And people have already heard about fight, flight, or freeze. So when we're under stress, when there's fear, our brains go to, should I fight whatever it is that I'm afraid of? Should I flee, run away, or do I freeze and I can't do anything? So part of what we're going to talk about is how to hijack your brain into a different way of thinking. So let me ask you a question. What if fear and uncertainty are actually trying to help you? They're not there to hurt you, but they're actually there in order to help you. And if that's true, how? How are they trying to help you? And here again is what I suggest, is that fear and uncertainty are here to help you, and they're here to ask you to take action. So let me break it down for you. So fear is an invitation. It's an invitation to rather take action or to stop taking action. If you're walking on a trail and you see a snake and you get afraid, that's a great feedback to stop taking action. But if there's a fear, oh my gosh, I don't know, I might lose friends if I start this new business, or what will people think of me if I put together a webinar and it's not perfect, right? So part of that fear is actually going, take the action. Now, here's how. Number 1 is to actually make friends with fear. And you're going, okay, how do you do that? You've mentioned that. How do you do that? We have a tendency to have a low tolerance for very intense emotions. So one of the best techniques and strategies that I've learned on how to deal with really intense emotions is to imagine that whatever that emotion is, that fear or the uncertainty, the insecurity, whatever that is, and to place it way far away from you, but to visualize it, personify it if you need to, make it a monster, make it an animal, whatever that is, and sit very comfortably, take a couple of breaths, and allow it to come closer to you so that you're actually visualizing it coming closer to you. And when it's to a point where you're going, oh, okay, I'm starting to really kind of feel nervous, then stop and push it away. And then bring it back to you and tolerate and just feel that the discomfort, and then push it away and bring it back. The more you do this, the greater a tolerance for the fear that you'll start to develop. And that tolerance is actually going to help you deal with future fear. Now, here's another technique in order to make friends with fear. And that is to see both sides of fear. And the question is, what are the benefits? What would be benefits to you if that fear actually came true? If you were to go bankrupt, if you weren't able to find toilet paper in Costco, right? What would be the benefits of that? And people instantly go, well, there aren't any. Oh, yes, there are. The law of polarity says that there are. Law of polarity says you can't have a positive without a negative, and you can't have a negative without a positive. Both sides of the coin are always true and always present. So part of dealing with fear and making friends with fear is actually to see both sides. Now, uncertainty. Uncertainty is also an invitation, and it's a two-part invitation as well. So uncertainty, the very first invitation is to get really, really clear about what it is that you want. What is it that you want? And people, I don't know exactly. That's why you have the uncertainty, because you don't have the clarity about what it is that you really, really want. And then second part is people go, I don't know how to get it. I don't know how. I don't know how. And so the secret here is with uncertainty is actually to go, not to focus so much on the how, but to get really, really focused and really, really clear on the why. Darren Hardy, the former editor of Success Magazine, talks about creating the why factor. And there's a lot of personal development people that talk about when the why is clear, the hows will actually show up. They'll reveal themselves. So the next piece that I want to actually share, so let me just review real quick. So again, fear. Fear is an invitation. It's an invitation to rather take action or stop taking action. So you evaluate for yourself. Is this fear about taking action? Is this fear about taking less action? Is there somewhere in my life that I need to pay more attention to? Is there areas of my life I need to pay less attention to? And seeing both sides. What would be the benefits of fear coming true? And here's another piece to it. What would be the drawbacks if that fear didn't come true? And when you actually see both the benefits and the drawbacks equally, you've actually started to neutralize the fear. And then again, with uncertainty, uncertainty is also the invitation. It's the invitation for clarity. It's clarity about what it is that you really want. And it's also the clarity about why. Why do you want it? Now, fear and uncertainty are also costing you. They are costing you time and energy and health. So you probably feel more drained. Maybe you have less tolerance for your kids and dealing with their stuff because you're so stressed out. And I took a look online and I found out that stress, which I think is partly a fear, partly an uncertainty. So it's estimated that it's cost the US economy $300 billion a year. $300 billion. So take a moment and actually ask yourself, how much is your fear and your uncertainty actually cost you? Again, in time, in health, in energy, where you're putting your focus there as opposed to, gosh, what can I do? Or what would you love to be doing? Because that's another aspect of fear and uncertainty. It's costing you, but you're also getting something from it. And so ask yourself, what am I getting by staying in the state of fear? Am I getting an excuse to not take action, to not step up in my life? Am I getting support and sympathy from friends and family? It's what are you getting? So it's not just what you're losing, but it's also what are you getting? Again, it's kind of the law of polarity. Both sides are there. So there are some people that are going to seize the opportunity. They're going to take advantage of what's going on right now in society. There are other people that are just going to kind of buckle in and hold on for the ride and hope that things work out for the best. If you're one of those people who want to take a deeper dive, if you're ready to really transform your fear and transform the insecurity or the insecurity and the uncertainty, I keep saying insecurity, so that must be in my mind. But if you're ready to transform the fear and the uncertainty, then I have a program for you that you might find helpful and valuable. And it is mastering your mind. So if you want greater clarity, greater courage, and productivity, join me for my Mastery of the Mind program. You can email me at salt@saltgarrison.net. You can go on my website, www.saltgarrison.net, or you can direct email me here on any of the social media to find out more. So again, this virus, the coronavirus, is going to pass. And media and society are going to focus on something new, on the next calamity. So for you, pay attention to the invitation of fear and insecurity. Keep washing your hands, cough and sneeze in your elbow. And if you like, join me for Mastery of the Mind. Thank you very, very much for your time and for listening to this. If you have any feedback, by all means, I'm open to receiving your feedback as well. Thank you again. Much gratitude and love to you.